here we go then with the grid for Kyoto Driving Park. So sticking it on pole, great performance for ESR Idol 4 in the Peugeot. Lining up alongside him on the first row of the grid, NextLevel in the Toyota Supra. He's the current championship leader, and he'll be looking to get yet another good result here today. P3, Sweaty Keg in the Aston Martin. That car should get off the line nicely, and he'll be looking again to have another good result here after his good time out at Monza. Rowdy Burns missed a few rounds this time, but the Hyundai's got really good pace around here. He starts in P4. In P5, SimFx in the Lemon and Lime McLaren, and alongside him myself in the World Motorsport Nissan livery. We're P6 today, but our car should be one of the better starters at the top half of the grid. C Trickle in the number 46 Hyundai, not far behind his teammate. Again, that car has some good pace around here. We've got James Harben in the Cheese Whiz car. He'll be ducking mad if he doesn't have a good result out of this one. Infinity Decals, Toro Moto, Aston Martin getting used to his wheel now, so he's just hoping not to be lapped today. Then we've got Marshall 2012 in the Aeon Flux Subaru. That car with its four-wheel drive capabilities should absolutely fly off the line. And then we've got SimFx in the Viper. He'll be looking for a good start as well. Then we've got Chand in the Lemon version of the Lemon and Lime. He'll be starting near the back of the grid. And then last but by no means least, Jihad in the other Subaru, wanting a good result. Let's get on with the footage for this one at Kyoto Driving Park. Let's get into it. Here we go then, live from Kyoto Driving Park this time round, and watch out for Idol in the Peugeot. He's not going to get off the line with a great start. NextLevel Supra also bogs down, so good opportunity for the Aston Martin to get a good start. The Supra doesn't have to do too bad, but the Hyundais absolutely fly. Myself in the Nissan, the four-wheel drive, and the Aeon Flux Supra, is it? Subaru, sorry. Get a great start. I'm from P6 all the way to P4 at the minute. And we have NextLevel P3, Rowdy Burns. Great start for Rowdy Burns, P2, but Sweaty Keg has got himself up into P1 in that Dead Bull Aston Martin. And myself P4 at the minute, following NextLevel Idol, looking to recover his bad start. SimFx, good start for him, P6, James Harben P7. Damage limitation this one for me and James. You just see Marshall there go up the inside of James Harben, and he's going to try and get that move made down the hill. We'll keep an eye on this because these two cars could get very close down here. Just enough room given between the two. Maybe a little bit of bodywork swapped. We've got a car off, that was C Trickle, but he's recovered it nicely. Infinity Decals is P11, Nice Champ P12 with Jihad P13 at the minute. Meanwhile, further at the front, the top four breaking away. Rowdy Burns has got himself past Sweaty Keg now. The Hyundai, one of the unsung heroes of this circuit. We've got Sweaty Keg, then P2, NextLevel P3, myself P4. Idol trying to cling onto the back of us at the minute in the Peugeot, trying to keep his tyres alive, so he'll be doing a lot of conservation this race. And we see in the background there, that was Infinity Decals going for a move on Ice Champ. Nice move as well. Keep an eye out on the top. So Idol was looking for a move on myself. I kind of knew the Peugeot was going to be an incredibly quick car around here. So you'll see me just stay defensive, and I'm just sticking to the slipstream that Rowdy Burns is giving me. NextLevel doing the same thing as well. So I'm all managing to hold on for the time being. NextLevel goes for a move. He's getting himself up to P2 now. That move gives me room to get past Sweaty Keg as well. And just tucking myself up into the back of the current championship leader to get the slipstream around the Aston Martin. So there we are then, that's myself up to P3. And now I'm going to try and get past NextLevel, which is, it sounds a lot easier than it actually ever is. James Harben having a good race, P7 for him at the minute. He's just leading away from Marshall, so I was winning that fight, just chasing down SimFx, the Corvette. Good for a few laps, and then its tyres will just fall off a cliff, just like mine will. Here are SimFx leading away to Infinity Decals. Starting to be a little bit of a gap built here though. and nothing really's changed at the back. Let's jump back up to the top. Oh, as we see Surfer Ev there. Is it Surfer Ev or is that Ice Chan? That's Ice Chan going for a move on Infinity Decals. See if he gets that made. The McLaren should grip a little bit better around here, and indeed it does. The Aston Martin's going to have to try and get him back on a straight though with that good old-fashioned British engineering. Let's jump up to the top as they're navigating the S's. So Rowdy Burns leads away to Mental Nev. I lead away to Sweaty Keg just about. Idle's going for a move on Sweaty Keg there. Technically gets that move made on the outside. Will the Aston Martin be able to hang on through the inside? No, the Peugeot's up to P4. And the Peugeot, one of the definite best Group 4 cars there is at the minute. It is just ridiculous how fast that thing is. But you need a skilled pilot to operate it, and that's who's behind the wheel. Darren Baldwin certainly has learned that car's treacherous sort of things that goes the tyres basically die very quickly. But if you can keep the tyres alive a little longer, you have got a good opportunity. This is looking from the back of the Toyota Supra. Mental Nev is having to go defensive now. You can see my car just peering around the outside and don't manage to get that move made. Mental Nev defends that one very well indeed. Mental Nev getting a little bit of a slipstream from the car ahead. But it is going to be very close. Down here, not really an overtaking spot, so I'll back off just a little bit. Just ride the curbs, and Nissan rides the curbs really well. And you see the run I get there on Mental Nev. I actually end up giving him a little bit of a tap up the hill. But for the time being, I just have to stay put. Where are we? Yes, I ride up P4, catching us up then. Sweaty Keg's getting him involved in a fight with Surfer Ev. Sweaty Keg at this stage though will just be in his fuel saving mode. Won't be focusing too much on track position right now, just making sure he's saving all the fuel he possibly can. He's picked up a little bit of a penalty actually, Sweaty Keg there. It would have been for a minor track cut infringement. A lot of those are getting picked up here in little dribs and drabs. It won't be as bad as it is going to be next week, as you see the field streaking down the S's for the third time of asking. Jumping back up then, slipstream parties in full effect. This time it's me versus Mental Nev. Mental Nev's going to effectively push me to the outside. Good defensive driving, but the Nissan's just got decent straight line speed there and do manage to get that move made on Mental Nev eventually. Actually try and capitalise on a little bit of a Rowdy Burns mistake on the exit, but he gathers it up and away he goes into P1. So P2 for myself, then Mental Nev P3, Idle was P4, Surfer Ev P5 now, Marshall P6, James Harmon P7, C-Trickle P8, Sweaty Keg served that penalty I think, and that's why he's down here in P9. But the top 9 is now starting to break away. Same exit then, the next car down in the Viper, Ice Chan in the Lemon McLaren. We've got Infinity Decals in P12 and Jihad in at P13. So that's the chaotic first few laps pretty much out of the way. There's a little bit of a fight going on here for P1 down the long sweeping right-hander. I just poked out to get some aero clean air, went for the cutback here on Rowdy Burns, but you can see his car's glitching all over the place, so just kind of had to tuck back in really. Rowdy Burns had really good pace here, so a genuine move would have been hard to pull off. The Nissan isn't that quick of a GR4 car. It's one of those half decent all-rounder types. But yeah, you can see Idle as we just jump on board with Dan Boyd. You see how wide Mental Nev's gone there. He's definitely suffered a bit of aero wash from the cars up ahead. Oh, and he's dropped a wheel. Let's just go back and have a look. We'll jump on board with Mental Nev. So yeah, you'll see him. He does go wide. I feel like he might have done that on purpose, and he's just trying to get the exit speed really. So he's on full power and he's just going to touch the grass. Gathers it up well, but that, at this stage of the race that's going to cost him a ton of positions, so he's going to end up down in P9 maybe. Sweaty Keg's going to get by, yeah, P9 for Mental Nev from a P3 position, so he's got some work to do now, maybe a little bit of damage to carry on that car as well. What's going on a little bit further up, so myself now P2. I'm saying now P2, I was P2, but I've got the Peugeot chasing me down. Good fight kicking off at the back between SimFx and James Harman. James Harman going for a look down the inside. SimFx's going to defend that. The McLaren's a very nice handling car, so he's just going to be able to carry a little bit more apex speed on the slightly less grippy outer part of the circuit and keep that position technically. Awful camera angles I'm getting here from the race director. We need to sort that out. But yeah, SimFx goes down into the first SS complex in the lead. What was happening here on the exit of that SS complex going up the hill, a lot of cars were getting it very out of shape, and James Harman's got a good run here on the McLaren driver, being chased down by the Hyundai. We know the Hyundai's a strong car as well. Can the McLaren keep the American at bay? It'll be about this time in the race that James Harman will be starting to suffer from a little bit of tyre wear. I was starting to feel it about now. Starting to drop a little bit of time. These guys lapping in the mid 43s or the low 43s. I can't remember what pace we were doing at the top. I'll check in a second. But yeah, you can see there James Harman is just putting some life into those tyres actually. This may punish him just a little bit later on. But a good little fight involving here for this P5 spot. There's now 3 cars directly involved in it and another 2 very quick drivers just behind as well. So plenty of action waiting to go here. We see C-Trickle make a lovely move down the inside actually there. Let's go on board with the Hyundai's P7 coming out the final corner. And technically he's down and out on the outside of the track. James Harman's getting a little bit of slipstream, so C-Trickle's going to dive to the gap that is left. Laid on the brakes, last of the late breakers, makes the apex. Lovely move by C-Trickle. Takes 2 cars in one corner. Absolutely beautiful move by the number 46 Hyundai driver now, but James Harman's not going to let that one go easily, and he will fight him back, you can be assured of that. But you can just see the tyre wear kicking in already. He just washes out wide. Meanwhile, NextLevel, he's still got a really good exit, and he's going to have a run here on Sweaty Keg. SimFx in all sorts of trouble. He's getting swallowed up by cars now. You see C-Trickle has escaped the pack a little bit. So it's SimFx and Sweaty Keg side by side down the SS complex. I've got a feeling one car's just going to lift out of this. Looks like Ev does lift out of it, and NextLevel's going to have to try and capitalise on a slower car up ahead. No, Sweaty Keg actually gets a bad exit. That's going to let SimFx technically back through. Idle then trying to get past me, so we're in the 42s. I've just started dipping into the 43s. Really heavily saving fuel at this stage. So short shifting to the max just to try and save that motion lotion. So the more fuel I could save at this stage in the race, the shorter my pit stop was going to be. Didn't really have a strategy coming into this, so I was winging it purely and simply. But you're going to watch just how much traction that Peugeot gains on me coming down here. I'm going to have to go defensive. We're only 10 minutes into the race though, so to me, when I was asking myself this question just at about this point here, is it really worth defending to a car that's definitely got the pace to get past me? So there is a point where I basically just say to him, you know what, just go. just go past, because there's no point. I'm going to lose too much time. Ion Flux up to P4. So they will be dancing in the streets outside the Aeon Flux office, no doubt. C-Trickle currently with the fastest lap of the race, 42.1, being chased down by James Harman. SimFx defending valiantly to Sweaty Keg. This fight has been going on for a good lap or so now. The Aston Martins had a problem getting past this McLaren, as the newly named Battle of Britain comes into force. We've got a NextLevel who'd had his power cigarette coming into this one and was all fired up. So as we see that, SimFx got a little bit sideways, and that let Sweaty Keg through into P7. So just jump on board with the Peugeot then of Idle. See how much he gains on me going down there. We're all in fuel save mode. Rowdy Burns at this stage starting to dip away from me. I wasn't getting the slipstream help anymore. So at this point it's kind of like there's not really any point. I'm pretty sure my indicator comes on. There we go. get yourself past. There's no point defending to a car that I can actually use for a couple of laps, and my plan was to just sit behind idle and try and get some slipstream off him, but it turned out he buggered off quite quickly, to be fair. I've been chased down by Marshall, but we are starting to build a gap to him now, so that gap's increasing ever so slightly. Sea Trickle's a threat at this stage though, because he's definitely within the pace. James Harbour now kind of on his own a little bit. He's not really got anyone directly around him, and he can focus on his own race, but you can see there the Corvette's just starting to not like its life at the minute. Mental Lev down in P8, he's probably going to be altering his strategy now with that incident a little bit earlier on. On board with Sea Trickle, lap number 9, about to start lap number 10, coming out of the final corner. There's going to be a little bit of a battle here for third, so the Hyundai versus the Nissan. Let's jump outboard for a second, so I'm going to make him go wide. I'm going to open up the apex for myself, get it stopped and turned in. So I'll try and make him work for this a little bit. We have got a car in the pit lane. I'm going to have to outbrake him here a little bit, which I just about managed to do. And let's just jump on board Sea Trickle again for this bit. I can't actually remember, this was less than 24 hours ago, but I still can't remember what happened with it. It's key to point out at this stage my tyres are absolutely shredded to pieces. I was getting no grip out my front left whatsoever. Every right hand turn was a pain in the backside, so having to turn in a lot earlier, do a lot more coasting. This corner here was especially treacherous, the one we're just doing now, so using the curbs to turn the car as well. Just about managed to get a good exit that time. Still chasing down idle a little bit. I was still getting a little bit of his slipstream, not too much though, but just enough to help me out. I am planning on pitting this lap. I think lap 10 was the time I was setting myself, so yeah, trying to come and pit this lap, come and do a relatively short stint. So yeah, having to defend to the Hyundai. He's going to go for the cutback, I think, again, because my front left's absolutely washing out here. So I'm going to be pitting now. Sea Trickle just about avoids me as I slam into the pits. Rowdy Burns in the pits as well to get rid of his mediums, because he came in on mediums. So a great first stint for him. A few cars in the pit lane, staying out though. Sweaty Keg, Sea Trickle and Idle. So Idle, having done 10 laps on those tyres now, they will be feeling the pain a little bit. You see Sea Trickle's lap that time was a 45.4. The time he spent trying to attack me was cost him quite a few seconds. Meanwhile, I am now out ahead of Rowdy Burns. I can't remember what time I'm on now. I want to say I'm on the medium now. In fact, shall we cheat and check? Shall we have a look? I can't remember. No, I'm on the soft. I stayed on the soft. So I was gonna do medium later on in the race. I knew I probably wouldn't be able to get away with a 2-stop here, not in the Nissan. It needed to be a 3-stop, so I was just gonna do short half fuel stints all the way. I think was probably the best way of doing it in this car. I'll just keep the weight light. Might have an opportunity to turn a corner then. Let's have a bit of a field recap, see where we are then. So from top to bottom, ESR Idle leads the way, having not yet pitted, but he's out there by virtue of good pace anyway. Sea Trickle not pitted either, P2 for him at the minute. Sweaty Keg not pitted, P3. Rowdy Burns first of the cars that has pit stop, P4. Myself in P5 on the attack against Rowdy Burns now. I want to say I was carrying a lot less fuel than him. I think he long fueled, I didn't. So I'm going for shorter stints here, so I will have decent pace at this stage. Sayarexic, I want to say he's not pitted either. He's carrying a penalty. Surferev defending away to Mental Lev. Surferev's actually just put his fastest lap of the race in a 42.5, so he's finding the pace now, but he's got the championship leading Supra behind him. This car has no chill, but oh, as you can see, Surferev there. Let's have a little bit. He's not going to thank me for this, but let's have a replay of what happened there with Surferev. So on board with the McLaren. Might have been put off by the Viper in front of him, you know, but he just tags the wall on the left-hand side. It feels like the back end of his car just tagged that wall. The other car's managed to get out of his way, but yeah, not a great time that for SimFx. How much time does it lose him? 5 seconds there or thereabouts, so not a great lap at all. It's put James Harben up to P8. He's chasing down Marshall in the Subaru. Have these guys pitted yet? I want to say they have pitted. I'm going to guess they've pitted. Rowdy Burns has got past me. Oh wait, no, he hasn't got past me. I was chasing him all along. Oh, you can tell it's been a long day. So I'm chasing down Rowdy Burns, but he's slowly and steadily just going to end up pulling away from me because that, you know, he's quicker than me at this circuit. The Nissan was awful here. Mental Nev behind me now. He's pitted a lap earlier, I think. A lap earlier than everyone else, so he's on fresh tyres as well. He's now on soft, so he'll be out having good pace. So watch him climb up the field. Decent fight between Marshall and James Harben kicking off for P7. So it's happy in the big American barge is winning out on this one. He's chasing down another big American barge driven by SimFx up ahead and using the Viper as a bit of a slipstream to get himself up the circuit. SimFx P9 then. He's going over the hills, followed by Sea Trickle in P10. Ice Chand, P11 for Chand at the minute. Infinity Decals, I was going to say P12, but Jihad's just got past him for P12, and Infinity Decals now down in P13. But he's going to try and chase him for that space back. No room at the end, down through the S's though. As Rowdy Burns now sets the fastest lap of the race and assumes the lead of the race as well by virtue of other cars pitting. Mental Nev reeling me in. He's just took the fastest lap of the race, actually at 40.9 this time round. And Idol has just pitted, so he's now on fresh rubber and chasing down everyone else. So whether he's going, he did 20 minutes, so he might be able to go a little bit longer on his next stint, who knows. He's on mediums anyway. I was just about to start drinking a nice cup of tea and relax for a minute. And then saw this fight kicking off. It contained SimFx, Sea Trickle and Sweaty Keg. So Sweaty Keg, the one who's just come out of the pits, he won't want to get held up in too much traffic. This will be slowing him down here. One of the league aliens, as we like to call him. Currently running P10, but that's because everyone's on slightly different strategies. Everyone's pitting at slightly different times. So this won't really come together until the last 5-10 minutes of the race, when everyone's strategies align and we see what everyone's got. So for myself, P2, yeah, not much to say. I wasn't expecting to stay here by any realm or imagination. There was a part of me that thought perhaps I could get a podium, but it was never going to happen in this car. It just couldn't hold on to its pace. You can see where Mental Nev's been able to do high 40s, and we've got people like ESR Idle in that Peugeot. It's going to be hard going to get on the podium today. In fact, what we'll do, we'll take you for a lap of the circuit on board with me. Actually, we'll see what the circuit's like. So we'll wait for me to go around the last corner. Hopefully my audio behaves itself this time round. So last corner then, try and tuck yourself into that inner apex. Go for a light apex here. Gets you a slightly better exit speed. So down the main straight then, quite a short straight this. It's not a power circuit by any realm of the imagination. You're looking for about 75 metres. So between the two boards there, not hard on the brakes. Down to second if you need it. Third's good enough for here though, just controls the it just tends to control the car on the outside of the corner, but as you can see there, not too great for me. 50 metre board, brake, roll the car in back on the power almost immediately there, because you want to run the car out up through the hill. You're looking here for the 50 metre board, braking down into second, chain down to second late to get the rotation on the car at the front end, and again early on the power, about mid apex there, just to get the speed for going down the hill. You can hear me short shifting here, change up nice and early if you need to, it just settles the car. I stay in fifth just to control it a little bit, down to fourth, then down to third just to rotate the car through the right hander, and you can run the car out wide there. The Nissan doesn't mind that. it's four-wheel drive, so I was doing that pretty much all race. It probably saved me about a tenth or so. Long sweeping left-hander, turn in and then change down just to get the rotation. There's like a light post on the right. Use that, and as soon as you see it, hard on the throttle, and you should just about have enough as long as you got your line right. Down through the S's then. In the Nissan, all the curb in the world here. You want to run all these curbs, especially the inside of this one, just to hook you in. And then you're looking immediately for the 50-metre board on the left, start turning in again. Similar to the last long sweeping left-hander, you change down after you've started your turning. It helps the car rotate. Balance the throttle, aim for the marshal's post, and down the main straight to start another lap. That was pretty untidy, it must be said, but you see mental levs all over the back end of it. That was a 43.7, that was pretty slow by all accounts. But I've got mental lev, who's at this stage of the race going a bit second and a bit quicker than I am per lap, so it's about whether I want to put up too much of a fight against the Super at this stage of the race. James Harben then doing a decent job in another atrocious car for the circuit. This one really didn't enjoy it here. Single lap pace, it was alright, it had the pace in it, but in race trim, when you're trying to look after your tyres and your fuel, it just lost so much time, it was unbelievable. The McLaren's probably one of the more suited cars to this circuit actually, but they seem to struggle, so it'd be interesting to try and hear from one of the McLaren drivers just to see what the actual problems were with that car. Marshall having a good fight with C-Trickle here for P7. This is still the tail end of the fight we watched before. Sweaty Keg P9 for Sweaty Keg now. I think a car stopped that was in front of him. I want to say that might even be CJW-Racing. But Sweaty Keg now just running his own strategy, so he may be in P9 for the time being, but watch him later on in the race, because I bet he's doing something sneaky with his strategies. We've watched C-Trickle go for a move on Marshall up the inside, the number 46 goes, and unless Marshall can get an absolute beast of an exit, it's going to be C-Trickle up to P7. Let's check in on the top guys, let's see. So I've got Mental Lev's dropped back. What's happened to Mental? Always hit the wall. So this is Mental Lev on me. This Super was absolutely ridiculous. He's revving this car out quite a bit as well, to be fair. Oh wait, no, you hear him there back off. He knows there's no room at the end down here. He just gets a bit unsighted by me. He just doesn't see where he's going, basically. Fortunately, TCI manages to get around him, and he even picks up a little bit of a penalty for his troubles, which is absolute nonsense in my opinion. He lost a ton of time there. I don't know why the game punishes him even more. I should explain this. I should explain, because that looks bad on camera. But we were on comms, Darren was on comms as well. I'll basically saying to him that I'll whack him in the, if someone pay me a $5 or something, I'll whack him in the pits. So I threatened to do it there. He gets a little bit of a tap on. I actually hit him harder than I think I did, so sorry Darren, didn't mean to scare you mate, but yeah, the Peugeot getting past me is pretty much an inevitability, I'll be honest. 20 minutes left in the race, is it really worth fighting him? Because it's gonna slow me down, it's gonna bring Nev to me quicker. We've got a decent gap, as you can see, I'm just basically letting go there. We've got a decent gap really to the cars behind us at this stage of the race. A lot of us have got to pit again, of course. I definitely have to pit again. In fact, I'm not too far away from having to do that. Getting a bit of deja vu. My controller decided just to stop working. It does this a lot now, which is what makes me making me think I'd need a new one. But yeah, I'm not too far away from my pit stop now, and yeah, I'm just going to fall into the clutches of this horrible lot down here. So James Harben, P5 at the minute in the Cheese Whiz Mobile. I'm just about leading away from this big old fight now involving quite a few cars. We've got Surf Rev in this, C-Trickle, Marshall and Sweaty Keg. This one's been going off now for 4 or 5 laps. Ice John's dropped back from that, so is CJW-Racing, so is Infinity Decals, and so is Jihad. So these guys, their race is decided already really, but there's all sorts of treachery going on at the top in terms of who can potentially win. I knew the other guys didn't know at the time, but I knew myself that my strategy wouldn't see me still up here, but I could still get like a P5 or a P6 potentially, so I'm trying to get the best I could out of this. See me in Mental 11 on a little bit of a fight. So he was doing a different line here to what the rest of us were doing. He was cutting out very wide and then cutting back. I'm pitting, there I go. So I might as well get rid of the soft, stick some mediums on, do 5 or 6 laps on the mediums, and then do a really fast soft stint at the end of the race. That's kind of my idea. I was thinking about just doing mediums till the end, but you just lost too much time on the medium tyre, so I didn't. It might have offset the time by doing a pit stop to change them, because you lost about 10 seconds by doing a pit stop. So it's kind of worth it for me at that point, just to give me a bit more confidence in the car. So Rowdy Burns leading the way then, half an hour gone. ESR idle, P2 with 20 minutes remaining. Mental Lev's chasing him down. We've got myself out in P4 on the medium tyre now. We've got James Harbin behind me. He's in the I don't know what tyre he's on, but it's in the Chevrolet. I can't remember what tyres he was on at that stage, but whatever they were probably a little bit dated. We've got Surfer Rev still holding off C Trickle then, so Surfer's having a great drive in the McLaren. Has to be said that Hyundai was a quick car on here, and we've seen the moves that C Trickle can pull on people, so the fact that he's kept him behind him and lapping at a good pace as well, to be brutally honest, is a good drive by Surfer so far. Sweaty Keg running his own race but doing good lap times. Importantly, he's lapping in clean out, lapping mid to high 42s pretty consistently since his pit stop. So yeah, we're yet to see more from that car. A lot of cars up ahead of these guys have got to pit yet. We see Rowdy Burns in the pits. Where's he going to come out? He's going to come out quite a way back, I think. He's just getting tyres and fuel. We're going to see Idle and Mental Lev up to P1 and P2. I might even get out ahead of Rowdy Burns here, just based on the amount of fuel he's got to put in his car. Does he come out in any of this lot though? That'd be awful for Rowdy Burns if he did. So James Harbin goes through, Surfer Rev and C Trickle goes through as well. So Rowdy Burns is going to come out in P8 behind a lot of these cars that are now on older tyres. So Rowdy Burns needs these cars out of the way pretty quick, to be honest. I see Marshall in the background there, he's going on to his medium stint now, so I'm on my medium stint. I'm going to be slower. This is just a virtue of the tyre really. What I was trying to do though was offset the grip difference by running it on really low fuel, so I was literally planning on doing 4 or 5 laps on this tyre, then coming in and changing it again, but doing it on low fuel so the lap times weren't as bad. So just to help me offset that time a little bit. This might give James Harbin an opportunity to catch me up a little bit. He's running 42s, 43s, although not having the greatest of laps right here, so I've got a feeling at this stage, yeah, he pitted lap 10, so he's going to be coming in again probably at the end of the next lap to get rid of those tyres. So he will be suffering at the minute. What else is going on track? We've got Rowdy Burns now trying to get past Sweaty Keg. So we're trying to get some temperature into those tyres. Good little fight here between Infinity Decals and Ice Chan. So the Aston Martin with the L plates on it is currently just about keeping the McLaren at bay. So again, another little battle of Britain kicking off for P11. Good fight for the lead now between Idle and Mental Nev. So both these cars probably coming towards the end of the stint, I'd be brutally honest. Most people were planning on pitting under lap 20. I offset mine a little bit, so yeah, looks like Idle and Nev are going to pit. Idle's actually got a fair amount more fuel. Mental Nev's going to have to put some fuel in here. Idle might just get away with not putting as much in. So they will get away with not putting as much in, that's pretty obvious. But I'm, for once, going to assume the lead of a GR4 race in the Nissan. So take a picture of this, hang it on the wall, because it won't ever happen again.
Rowdy Burns then P2, so he's managed to get past Sweaty Keg eventually. I don't think Dave made that one an easy job. Idle's now out in P4, and assuming going to the end of the race, we've got 15 minutes remaining in this one. We've got Mental Nev out in P5 then. Again, a lot of these drivers now going to the end. Sea Trickle had a bit of an off-track excursion, didn't show it on camera. P6 for him, James Harbin P7, SurfRev P8, Marshall P9, Sarah Exit P10, Ice Chandler Infinity Decals P11 and P12 respectively, Jihad P13 and myself in P1. But the question is, how long have I done on these tyres now? So this will be my 4th lap on the mediums. Running in the 43s, did a 45, 45, a 42 and a 43, so you just say the mediums took a little bit of getting used to, let's just say that. So, but the 42.5 was a decent lap, so I'll take that one. Just a shame my last lap was a 43.2, made a little bit of a mistake I think on that one, earning myself a penalty as well. So yeah, my strategy now, I'm going to be coming in again, sticking some fuel in. I think I was going for I was just going to put 9-10 laps of fuel in and go to the end. I think I do come into pits now. So after this we should get a decent picture of who's actually going to win this. So I burn off my penalty and pit in. So yeah, I can remember 4% fuel. So I'm going to need to do some. Refueling. So coming back to it, Sweaty Keg's strategy of go long or go home. He's fighting ESR Idol for that coveted P2 spot. They're both chasing Rowdy Burns down, and they've got Mental Nev for company as well. So this is effectively the battle for the podium positions now. The top 4 drivers all within, I want to say all within like a second of each other. Yeah, there's not much in it between these guys at all. So we've got Rowdy Burns, Idol, Mental Nev, Sweaty Keg, Sea Trickle P5, and then myself in P6 at this minute in time. I'm now out of the pits, chasing down that Hyundai up ahead. I'm back on the softs. I've got about half a tank or so's fuel in there. I did end up over fueling it by about a lap. But that's the thing with these endurance races, you put your full fuel in laps, not in time. So you kind of have to do the maths in your head, and I always get it a little bit wrong, and I always play it a little bit safe as well. So wouldn't have mattered, I don't think, to the outcome, which you will see play out in the next couple of minutes. But yeah, that's my thing. So we'll keep an eye on this top 5 here. So Idle looking to get past the Hyundai up ahead. Now he's gonna be on a charge. The Group 4 boss man, as we'll call him now. Pretty much always in the mix in a Group 4 race is Idle. That's the thing with some manufacturers, they don't necessarily have a strong Group 3. Idle's Group 3 car leaves a lot to be desired, but the Group 4 is about the best one you can get, so it kind of makes up for it in that sense. So he's going for a move around the outside here of Rowdy Burns for the lead of the race. So there we go, Idle's up to the lead of the race now. He's going to do his very best to keep that Rowdy Burns P2 for him, as we see Sweaty Keg coming in to get rid of the mediums and Sea Trickle coming in for fuel as well. Mental Nev, P3 for Mental Nev. He's again another one that's had a fantastic recovery drive. Just look at the pace he's held. If you look on the right hand side of your screen, they're setting purple lap timers as well, which means fastest of anyone so far this session. So Mental Nev is on a charge now. Myself P4 with 11 minutes left to go in this one, trying to keep Sweaty Keg behind me, who's going to be on soft tyres, and yeah, basically absolutely nailing it. Probably put a little bit less, in fact he would have put a lot less fuel in than me, because he was not that close to me before the pit stop. So he's been able to put less fuel in that car. But SurfRev, good drive for SurfRev, P6. He's been very consistent as well. That's probably the word I'd put under SurfRev's race review so far. So mid 42s the entire race for SurfRev, so definitely fantastic pace from him. Marshall had a little bit of an up and down race, as Marshall did some fight with James Harbin early on. P7 for him so far. Speaking of James Harbin, he's just pitted. He will be now on some fresh soft tyres to the end of the race. And yeah, we'll see how this one plays out in the remaining 10 minutes or so. battle here now for P4. This is myself versus Sweaty Keg. So Nissan versus Aston Martin. So a shout out at this point in the race to Logan Luke, who designed my livery again, and I continue to give him the kudos for the livery, but a few additions to the livery this week. Obviously in memory of Grim99's sister, who sadly passed away recently. A lot of the drivers, I think pretty much all of them, are running some tribute of some kind on the car. I'll have a flick through and see if you can spot them. And another special addition to my car as well that may be subtle enough for you to see as we look at the Aston Martin, and just watch how much more composed it is down here. Yes, it backs off a little bit there, but I was watching this back a bit ago and he just had so much more composure coming down the hill. So this move is somewhat inevitable. He's just had really good pace at this stage in the race, didn't really have too much to answer to him. So coming around these long left-handers especially. The Nissan just had its struggles here, understeered like crazy. So with pretty much 5 minutes left to go of the race, the battle is on really for P4. We were slowly catching Rowdy Burns up ahead, but the gap was big enough that he kind of had to have an accident for any of us really to be catching the top three. So Dave's just going to get the cut back on me there, so he's going to get the move. It's going to really be a case that he's going to have the good overspeed here. I can just see how much further ahead he is. So he's going to have the overspeed, he's going to go defensive. I do dip to the inside and try and do get that move made back on him. I was close enough to kind of get that done at that stage, so it somewhat might be just a matter of time this between when Dave can get by. As I just run it a little bit deep there, Dave's going to have the run down into the hairpin on me. He has the inside line and the move has been made. So Sweaty Keg up to P4 then. I can just try and use him for a little bit. Some slipstream defence to the cars behind. SurfRev was a couple of seconds behind at this point. Running in the 43s as well, so again that gap was building a little bit but not too much, so I didn't want to sacrifice my race for this much time remaining. So have a quick flick through the grid then, as we've got just a couple of minutes left to go. So we've got ESR wide up 4, P1 for him, but he is coming on some pressure now from Mental Nev. So he's starting to feel the pain a little bit from the Super Championship leader behind him. Mental Nev, who's got some unreal pace, especially considering that there was a point in the race where I'm pretty sure he was facing the other way. So that battle is far from over. We'll get another 2 laps out of this one, I think. And then we've got P3 Rowdy Burns, pretty much unchallenged for this P3 at this minute in time. Just good pit strategy, really good race management from Rowdy Burns who's put him in this position. Love the helmet as well. SpongeBob, was it? Looks like a SpongeBob. Sweaty Keg got past me now, starting to pull away a little bit. So that's P4 for him, pretty much confirmed. P5 for myself at this minute in time. We've got Surfer Ev trying to chase me down, then he's in the McLaren. He's had a really good race to Surfer Ev. I should think he'll walk away from this one quite happy. Marshall P7 for the Aeon Flux driver, just leading away to James Harbour, who's had the attentions of Sea Trickle lately. But James now, fresh tyres, probably starting to feel a little bit better with that damage limitation for the Chevrolet, as was Laguna Seca last week as well. Sarexic P10 for him, with Icejan P11. He was in a fight with Infinity Decals, which looks like he's won because G-Head's in P12 with Infinity Decals in P13. If you think there's any similarity between the sponsor of the series being Infinity Decals, and there's actually having a driver who goes by the name of Infinity Decals, not a coincidence, they are one and the same person. It's not some imposter. Alright, let's give the last lap coverage it deserves. I think we'll just keep an eye on this battle first. Could really go anywhere this one, so there we go. I like the inside view. Very nice interior on this car as well. It's like a BMW. Wonder why. So, NextLevel chasing down ESR Idle. Then 1 lap remains. I think by the time they get round, I think the timer will have run out. We'll see a little bit later on, but we'll find out in about a minute's time. As NextLevel really piling the pressure on ESR Idle now. Don't like that view, looks a bit artificial. ESR Idle's just got 1 more lap to get through then to fend off the Supra. The Peugeot's got the speed in the straight line. You can see it's pulling away from the Supra in a straight line, but the Supra's probably a better handling car. And this is way more of a handling circuit than a power circuit, so it's all about for Idle here, just defending in the right places and just making sure he's using his advantages. So up the hill especially, pulling as much of a gap to NextLevel as he possibly can. Just so the Supra driver can't launch one round the outside here. You can see just how much he pulls him back in though, but Idle gets on the power nicely here and gets a good drive up the hill. Just a couple of corners left to go then for Idle until the race timer runs out. We'll keep an eye on this battle. Just 1 corner left to go. If Nev's going to do it, he's got to do it now. Idle jumps straight to the inside, covers off the apex, and unless NextLevel gets a beast of an exit here, this can be Idle's win here at Kyoto Yamagiwa 2, i.e. reverse. So well done to Idle for taking the win in that one. NextLevel P2 for NextLevel. Rowdy Burns is going to bring it home for P3, largely unopposed. Sweaty Keg, the sweatiest of all sweatiness, P4 for him. He's going to give us a handbrake, I know he does. Beautifully executed. I try, but the Nissan's handbrake's terrible, so I just slam it into a wall. P5 for myself, happy with that. To be fair, damage limitation as always. SimFx, lovely handbrake, almost backwards across the line. Marshall handbrake's a little bit early there. Oh. Right, I'm going to go back and watch that. We're going to go back and watch this. So this is from James Harbin. He said I was soaring at the wheel there, James. Right, so you're keeping an eye on the car ahead. So the car ahead is a Subaru and it's about to get a swap on the exit. James follows him. James gathers it up nicely. Oh, I thought for a second then. That Marshall was going to bid him into the pit lane, but that didn't happen. C-Trickle's going to bring it home for P9. Marshall did well not to stack it then completely. So P9 for C-Trickle. P10 for SimFx when he gets that. He's weaving his way down the start-finish straight. You wouldn't see this in real life. P10 for SimFx then. Ice Chand P11 for him. He's just coming around the start-finish straight now. Flashing the lights, handbrake across the line, and Jihad and Infinity Decals are going to be the last 2 cars to finish them. Hopefully they get time to finish these laps. Let's watch. So a good race from everyone. Definitely not my strongest track. Definitely not the strongest track for my car. So on to the next, I guess. So here we go. P12, P13. Oh, Infinity Decals does he run out of fuel? So, does Jihad run out of fuel here? This is the last lap. I've got Infinity Decals right up his chuff. Listen for the engine. Yeah. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Drivers' Press Conference. You've just watched the race from Kyoto Driving Park, and we've got a couple of the drivers on board with us now, so we're going to just give each one a chat and see what their opinions on the race were. So first up, SimFx, so in the Lemon and Lime McLaren team. So you had a couple of shouts in the video. You'll notice that when you watch this back. Just before I go into that, I guess, just want your opinions on how you felt the race went, and did you maximise the opportunities that you had during it as well?
Maximise, maybe not, but I think damage limitation had to be done. But yeah, it was a decent qualifying. I think 5th, which wasn't bad actually, because behind Darren, Nev, Dave, Rowdy, so I was happy where I qualified. And then my strategy was start on mediums, do them for a shorter stint to allow 2 longer stints in softs. Theory being I'd be a semi-rolling roadblock, which James will agree I think took place. And it was working actually, because I was holding my own on the mediums for quite a while. I was hovering around the 5th and 6th, and then took my stop, I think, which dropped me back, but I'm able to just put in consistent times on my softs. Then ended up battling with Nev, was able to hold him off for a bit, until we caught a Viper who was going very slow, I think, either the final corner onto the straight, and I had to decide whether to try and swing past and put a wheel on the grass, and that was it, spun.
Yeah, I think that you weren't the only one that got caught out at that corner. A few cars fell victim to, I guess, just trying to get the maximum speed out of that, because turn 1 was a big overtaking opportunity down here, so you're not the only one. I did sort of talk about in the video that you seemed to rattle in with the consistency. You were pretty much lapping in the mid-42s the entire sort of way around. So that speaks to a level of how far you've come in this championship so far. As we're closing in now, we've got just 2 rounds left. What are your predictions for the next 2 rounds? We've got Le Mans and I forget the last track. But back in the Group 4s for the last one. So what are your predictions there?
Predictions is I'll hate Le Mans.
Yeah, it's not the best track for your car, is it, that one?
It's not, and I'm not a fan of the track. Maybe in something more stable I'd enjoy it a bit more, and with a bit more top end. So it'll be a case of just get Le Mans over and done, see if we can get a few points, because it's actually, I think, quite still close in the middle of the field.
Very close.
So it's like, whereas a few races ago I was thinking I wasn't in the shout, I was going to be, fighting to be in the top 10. It's not so bad now. And then I'll look forward to the last race in the Group 4. I enjoy driving the Group 4 car. It's you mentioned consistency. I think it's a good car to be consistent in. You can find a balance, and then and it's really good on its tyres, which helps. So
good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. A driver that you were fighting with a lot of the race we'll go to next, which is Mr. James Harbin in the Cheese Whiz Chevrolet. We spoke at length about how this track could be a bit of a bogey track for your car, specifically with the leaf-sprung front suspension that doesn't like to turn the car. Damage limitation. Tell me about it. How was the 50 minutes at Kyoto?
Yeah, it weren't great. I think I was more to blame than the car. I think I got too fixated on trying to save that front left from going off. Especially in the second stint, I was trying to make that longer. Tried to go soft, and then use the medium at the end for the least amount of laps. But I think I went too conservative in the middle, which lost me loads of time. I had some good battles, though. It was a good race. Set 7th beforehand. That's fine. I'd taken that before, so yeah, happy with that.
Yeah, it was always going to be a bit of a tough one for any car that doesn't exactly get its front end stuck in well. The result there sticks you in 5th, draws you just 8 points shy of myself in the Nissan, and with the Nissan team maybe not racing next week, that could spring a good result for what is probably the strongest car at Le Mans next week. So looking forward only, what are your thoughts for the remaining 2 races at Le Mans and Nürburgring?
Yeah, next week should be strong. Should be a really strong track for our car. Hopefully a good result. We're good at Monza. An error cost me second there. Even could have cost me first if I'd have been close to Dave on last stint. I'll be looking for a strong result there. And then at Nürburgring at end, no idea yet. Another one, just try and turn up and see what I can do, I think.
Yeah. And a bit of a shout out while we're sort of thinking ahead is you're running a special livery for next week. We've had a sneak preview to some of it. Just an opportunity in this video, I guess, while the project's still ongoing, just if you want to mention anything about it, why you're doing it, and what are you aiming to get out the other side?
Yeah, well, I just thought, obviously, it's been a rubbish year for everyone, and I know a lot of people have been struggling, a lot of people have had a really bad time of it, and I just basically wanted to, for the last race in that car, just wanted to, anyone who's got like a charity, a person, anything that they want to support, that I'd just feel free to put it all over my car and just show support for anyone you want, and just basically that as like a tribute to say thank you to anyone or to anything that you want to.
Nice.
Yeah, just hopefully that'll. I don't know what to say about it, but yeah, it's just, that's basically, it's just a thank you car basically for everyone to put on what they feel or what they want to support.
It's a good idea. I know I've got 1 or 2 running on there. I know a load of the other lads have stuck things in. We'll give that some coverage next week, of course. We'll have a little look at it and see how it turns out. Of course, it's still a work in progress, so we'll see how that looks in the Group 3. But you know, thanks for doing that.
No, thanks everyone for the support anyway, and you know, getting behind it and that. I appreciate it.
Over to the main event, I guess. The man who had probably the best race out of anyone at Kyoto was our man in the French rebellious machine, Mr. Darren Baldwin. So driving what is probably the strongest Group 4 car, but I say in the video you can have the strongest car on the track, but you've still got to extract the performance out of it. So it's by no means a certain that you're going to get a result in that car. But yeah, tell me about your strategy, how you went about it. Yeah, how did you achieve that miraculous feat?
Morning. I was practicing them on track first of all. I didn't realise it was that track. So I only done 3 or 4 laps around obviously the track we raced at. I was a bit worried because prior to quali, I had James all over my rear end. That's what it's going to be one of these races. And then come qualifying, it just come to me and it just gelled. Strategy wise, I didn't really have one, to be honest. That's the honest truth. I was just thinking in my head, going around the track, you know. So I done my pit stops when I did, and they worked out. You know, the mediums felt better than the softs on the pug.
Yeah.
Sounds weird to say, but it really did. On the mediums, it felt faster than the racing softs. When I was on the racing softs, I was losing a lot of time. Come the third stint, I knew Nev would catch up to my rear end. I mean, if he didn't touch the grass on the, I think towards the start of the race. Yeah. I was like, I need to put my foot down a bit. So I put my foot down a bit, and he was at my rear end come the last couple of laps. But it was a good battle. You know, I'm glad I got the win in the RCZ. It's about time. Enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, that pretty much secures third in the championship for you, leaving that. So you're on 102 points as opposed to my 80 in 4th. So yeah, some good results in the Peugeot have secured that for you, and it seems like a championship that I know you were a bit pensive about your results. Yeah. Like Evan said earlier on, he sort of was thinking it'd be further down the order, but you've actually turned out to have a really good season. I know next week
you boys are quick racers, you know, and I thought I'm going to be like, I don't know, 8th, 9th in the league come the end, but I'm quite surprised. I'm sitting 3rd, you know.
You've had some very good results.
I know. I enjoy Infinity. I enjoy the Infinity series. You know, it's my favourite league, to be honest.
It's full of good peeps. Well, that concludes the drivers' press conference for Kyoto Driving Park. Don't forget, ladies and gents, to join us next week for coverage at Le Mans, aka Penalty Central, where we'll go into the penultimate race of the season, and we'll get a really good picture of how things are going to shape up towards the end. Thanks to the drivers for joining me in the press conference today. So thanks to James, Darren and Evan, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
All right, cheers, thank you.
Cheers.